We return to our heroes in Stow-On-Side. In the wake of their recent adventures, Ash is eager to return to his gym challenge, and luckily, Stow-On-Side is well equipped to meet that need, with Bee telling him her hometown's gym leader is a formidable trainer who specializes in the ghost type. Thinking back on his previous battles with Agatha, Morty, and Fantina, the idea of battling another ghost specialist gets Ash fired up, and so before Bee and Raihan can stop him, he and Pikachu sprint off in the direction of the gym. However, when the pair of best friends arrive, they see a closed sign slung over the door, much to their horror. Flopping down on the ground, Ash calls this just great, grumbling that he was really looking forward to having a gym battle, while Pikachu's ears twitch for a moment, before he leaps down from his trainer's shoulder and runs around the side of the gym. Confusion in his tone, Ash calls out for his buddy, running after him and finding the electric rodent perched on a large window looking into the gym's battlefield. To Ash's surprise, the gym's lights are on, allowing him to see inside where three figures are in deep discussion. Two of them Ash knows, Leon and Chairman Rose, while the third is a small child whose face is hidden by a mask. Pressing an ear against the window, Ash listens in as Chairman Rose sorrowfully tells the masked figure, who he calls Alistair, that unless he starts taking challenges again, the league will have to revoke his gym leader status. It's regrettable, but the position of Galar gym leader is a prestigious and coveted one, so if he's not going to put it to use, someone else surely will. Alistair hangs his head, mumbling something that sounds like an acceptance of his fate, but with a shout and wave of his arm, Leon tells his boss not to be so hasty. Sure, Alistair's a bit behind, but even the best trainers hit a slump sometimes. Maybe what he needs is something like a great battle to revive his passions. Stroking his beard in contemplation, Rose accepts this premise, saying that at the very least a battle would be good publicity for the gym, though the question is who will do the battling, since plainly speaking Alistair isn't up for the job. Grinning, Leon says he's always ready for a battle, earning him an approving nod from the chairman, who agrees Leon would be an excellent draw card, but who would even stand a chance against the unbeatable champion? They'd need someone who is also of champion level, with a collection of strong Pokemon and an ability to draw a crowd. At this moment, Ash sneezes, causing the three people inside the gym to turn and look at him in unison. The sudden sensation of six eyes staring at him, especially when he has just been caught eavesdropping, makes Ash yelp as he stumbles back and crashes to the alley floor. Chuckling, Leon walks over and opens the window, saying that he thinks they've found their man. Smiling, Chairman Rose nods, replying that an Ash vs Leon exhibition match would be quite the spectacle, while Leon leans out the window, extending a hand to Ash and asking what he thinks of the idea. Beaming, our young hero doesn't need to think twice, instead reaching out and putting his hand in Leon's, eager to begin their battle. A few hours later, Ash is in the locker room of the Stow-On-Side gym with Bee and Raihan by his side. Bee for her part is excited to see how Ash fares against the champ, while Raihan is less optimistic, saying that while Ash is a very powerful trainer, it was a dumb idea to fight Leon at this stage, since the guy's probably the strongest trainer in the world. Ash shrugs that even if Leon is stronger than him, that's okay, since the only way he can grow is if he keeps striving for new heights. Raihan shrugs that in that case, he'll wish Ash luck, since he's gonna need it. With these parting words, Ash steps out onto the pitch, while Leon does likewise from the other side. At the sight of two champions about to clash, the crowd erupts with cheers, and as Ash looks over to the stands, he is amazed to see that this audience is maybe the biggest he's ever battled in front of, with there not being a single empty seat in the entire stadium. This is all business as usual for Leon, who upon spotting Ash gives him a smile, asking if he's ready for a good fun battle. Ash nods, and so Chairman Rose steps between them, announcing that this exhibition match will consist of three 1v1 battles, with the winner being the first trainer to receive 2 wins. With this established, he departs for the commentator's box, and when he's in position, he tells the two trainers to choose their first Pokemon. Leon as the de facto defender chooses first, bringing out his Dragapult, with the ghostly dragon eliciting a roar from the spectators. In contrast, Ash's first choice produces more confusion than adulation, as he calls forth his Primeape. Even Leon is a little taken aback, kindly pointing out that Dragapult is part ghost in case Ash didn't know, him not being from Galar and all. However, Ash says he's more interested in its other typing. This enigmatic statement is made clear a moment later when on Chairman Rose's call to begin, Ash's Primeape use Ice Punch. Being part dragon, this is super effective on Dragapult, and when coupled with Primeape's raw strength, is enough to send Leon's Pokemon soaring into the air. This at last earns Ash the cheers he deserves, as even Leon applauds that Primeape was a clever choice, and that he feels silly for doubting the boy. Ash tells the Galarian not to sweat it, since all that matters now is their battle, a statement which Leon wholeheartedly agrees with, telling Dragapult to get back into the fight with Dragon Rush. As the wingless dragon soars downwards once more, Ash's Primeape meet the attack with another Ice Punch, causing a shockwave to ripple out from the force of the collision. The two Pokemon then break apart, with Dragapult having to use a small flamethrower to melt the layer of ice forming on its nose. However, during this time, Primeape is not sedentary, far from it in fact, as with a berserk shriek it lunges at its opponent, both fists coated in icy energy as it delivers a flurry of blows. Using its remarkable speed, Dragapult easily avoids each of these, before shooting back into the air and laying down a barrage of its own, this time with Dragon Darts that rain down upon Primeape from above. Unfortunately, Ash and Primeape have no way to counter this, with the Pig Monkey defiantly taking the hits, and this all but confirms a theory Leon has been developing about the pair. Curiously, the Galarian champ asks his rival if Ice Punch is the only move Primeape knows that can affect Dragapult. Chuckling a little self-consciously, Ash says he guesses it is, with Leon also letting in a belly laugh as he declares that while it sure is gutsy to come in here trying to take out his Dragapult with just one move, it's not very wise. He then tells Dragapult to stay in the air and end things with a flamethrower. At once, the Ghost Dragon belches a torrent of flames down at Primeape, but neither Cantonian nor his partner are deterred, with Ash telling Primeape to put all its strength into one last Ice Punch. Gathering up all the Arctic energy it can muster, Primeape balls up its paw, and with a mad shriek of its name thrusts its fist into the heart of the Inferno. Then, something incredible happens. A shell of ice begins to form around the flames, encasing them in ice and preventing them from touching Primeape. Little by little, this ice coating expands, rising further and further up the jet of flames towards Dragapult. In that moment, there is total silence from the crowd, as spectators and battlers alike wait with bated breath to see how this gambit will play out. By now, the ice has made it halfway up the flamethrower, but unfortunately, at such a distance from Primeape and the gathered ice energy, it's starting to encounter a problem. Namely that without said energy to chill it, it's starting to melt, dripping onto the pitch below. Seeing this weakness, Leon calls for Dragapult to put all it has into the flamethrower, and with a renewed roar, Dragapult doubles the size of its attack in an instant, shattering the ice and completely consuming Primeape. Urgently, Ash calls out the Pig Monkey's name, but when the flames die down, it is on its back, its fur blackened, and its eyes spirals. Now it is Ash's turn to choose first, and needing a win to stay in the battle, he turns to his oldest and best friend, asking if Pikachu will fight for him. With a determined nod and a grin, Pikachu bounds onto the field, and this excites Leon, who smiles that he went back and watched Ash's Manalo Conference battle, and ever since, he's been itching to test himself against the Pokemon who beat Tapu Koko. He then eagerly asks if Ash will show him his Z move, but with a shake of his head, Ash replies that he can't, since his Z ring still hasn't arrived yet. This doesn't deter Leon though, who shrugs that never mind, this will still be an incredible clash, as he brings out his next Pokemon, Mr. Rhyme. This surprises Ash, with him asking if this is an evolution of Mr. Mime. Leon is happy to explain, telling the boy all about Galarian Mr. Mime, and this quickly devolves into an excited conversation about just how much these two love Pokemon. That is until the amplified voice of Chairman Rose clears his throat, reminding Ash and Leon that they're supposed to be battling. Laughing awkwardly, the two champs return to the battle at hand, with Leon taking the first move, as he has Mr. Rhyme use Psychic Terrain. At once the eyes in its belly flash, as a dome of undulating pinkish-purple energy forms over the field. Ash doesn't know what this means, but he can guess it isn't for his benefit, and this hunch is proved correct when Leon calls for an expanding force. Suddenly, a ripple of psychic energy bursts forth, and thanks to the terrain, it seems to be amplified in terms of power. Thankfully, with his vaunted speed, Pikachu is able to dodge the attack, but Ash knows that playing defense won't win him this match. Going on the offense instead, Ash calls for an Iron Tail, figuring if Mr. Rhyme is anything like Mr. Mime, then the Steel-type attack will do major damage. Rushing forward, Pikachu's tail takes on a steely hue, but Leon is ready for this, calling for another expanding force to knock Pikachu away. At such close range, the little electric rodent can't dodge, being sent skidding across the deep purple turf, and as Ash sees the divot his partner left behind, an idea begins to take shape. With a grin, the young son of Pallet then tells Pikachu to use Iron Tail again, but this time on the ground. Nodding, Pikachu leaps into the air, doing an overhead spin before slamming his tail back down into the ground. All around the impact points, cracks begin to form, but there is no discernible change, at least not as far as Leon can tell, and so seeing an opening, tells Mr. Rhyme to wrap this up with a third and final expanding force. Loyally, the Ice Mime launches the attack, but as the Psionic Pulse expands out this time, something is off, as it inadvertently winds up lifting broken fragments of the battlefield into the air, a feat only made possible by the extra strength Psychic Terrain granted the attack. And this is just what Ash was banking on, having Pikachu dodge the psychic attack and hurl a series of electrowebs at the floating fragments, gathering them up into giant balls of debris. Suddenly, the tables have turned, as now Leon and Mr. Rhyme have an incoming threat to contend with, that being a meteor shower made up from the battlefield. Frantically, the duo attempt to repel as many of the calamitous comets as they can with expanding force, but when being assailed from all sides, they can only get so many, with the rest battering the ice psychic type. However, this isn't the worst of it, as riding atop the final meteor is none other than Pikachu, and as Mr. Rhyme attempts to blow him away, the spunky electric rat leaps over the attack and drives an iron tail directly into Mr. Rhyme's head. Briefly, a cartoonish lump forms atop the comedian Pokemon's head, a fitting tribute to classic slapstick comedy. Then with a thwomp, it keels over, giving the second round victory to Ash. This upset causes an uproar in the audience, with some cheering the Alolan champ to claw back a victory while others boo, giving their encouragement to Leon to put this brat in his place. Either way, Leon is delighted, telling Ash that no matter how this final match plays out, he's glad he got to battle him. Ash replies that the feeling's mutual, and then in unison they bring out their last Pokemon. It seems that Ash and Leon are truly on the same wavelength, as by happenstance, Ash chooses his Scorbunny while Leon elects to go with Cinderace. And though this is a disadvantageous matchup for Ash, our hero is all smiles as he readies his first attack. Wanting to size up Leon's fire starter, Ash opens with a tackle, and though not a very powerful move, it catches Leon's attention, specifically the change to Scorbunny's eyes. In fact, this fascinates the Galarian champ, with him exclaiming that he can't believe it, there really is another one. Ash asks what Leon means, and the purple-haired man grins that it's Scorbunny's ability, Libero. As far as he knew, his Cinderace was the only one of its species to have that ability, but it seems that Cinderace and Ash's Scorbunny are two of a kind. However, that doesn't mean he's going to go easy on it. On the contrary, he's going to put it through the ringer to see what it's truly made of. Ash grins to bring it on, and Leon is happy to oblige, having Cinderace leap out of the way of tackle and use Scorching Sands. At once, the red tuft of fur on top of Cinderace's head turns a light shade of taupe as it stamps its foot on the ground, causing the dirt beneath the pitch to shoot upwards into the air. Cinderace then follows, waiting for the dirt to coalesce into a ball before kicking it directly at Scorbunny. Frantically, the little rabbit attempts to blast this away with Ember, but it's a vain effort as the dirt ball swallows up the embers before doing the same to Scorbunny. It truly seems as though all hope is lost. Then, pinpricks of white light begin to burst from out of the ball. Soon these pinpricks become beams, then pillars, before suddenly the orb crumbles away to nothing, leaving a new Pokemon where Scorbunny once stood. On the other side of the field, Leon congratulates Ash on his Scorbunny evolving into Raboot, and with a massive grin, Ash tells Raboot that it's incredible, before asking if it's ready to help him win. Giving a thumbs up, Raboot wreaths itself in flames, then charges at Cinderace, having evolved its tackle into Flame Charge. Thanks to its newly gained speed, this hits, with Raboot following up by landing a pair of double kicks on Cinderace's chest, and even following up with a fiery rat that turns its eyes pitch black, aside from the flickering pink flames of Moltres. Against such an onslaught, Cinderace is pushed back, with Leon commenting that Ash has really raised his Raboot well. Unfortunately, that means he has to bring their fun match to a close. Grin widening, Leon then makes a declaration the crowd have been waiting for. It's champion time. In an instant, Cinderace's entire demeanor shifts, as if all its pain and fatigue is suddenly washed away, and with a cry, it prepares one last all-out attack. Quick as a flash, the final stage starter appears in front of Raboot, driving a kick into its stomach that sends it soaring towards the roof. Then, with its other foot, it flicks up a pebble, briefly batting it between its feet until the stone catches alight, at which point, Cinderace executes a spin kick, launching the fireball directly at the flying Raboot. As it rises, the fireball grows exponentially in size, until at the zenith of its arc, it is the size of a miniature sun. In spite of its new power, Raboot cannot counter something so massive, and so is consumed by the blaze, before plummeting back to Earth, unconscious. With 2 out of 3 victories, Leon is declared the winner of the exhibition match, while Ash rushes over to Raboot, checking if it's alright. Thankfully, the hot-headed hare has no serious injuries, though there is fire in its eyes as it looks over at Leon's Cinderace, silently declaring that it will grow stronger until one day it is capable of surpassing the final stage starter. For its part, Cinderace nods, encouraging its pre-evolution to battle it again sometime, clearly admiring its spirit. This is mirrored in Ash and Leon, as the pair shake hands, with Ash congratulating the Galarian, while Leon tells Ash that it was an incredibly close match, and that he and his Pokemon have earned his respect. Ash thanks Leon for the praise, and the pair part on good terms, promising to meet again soon. Back in the locker room, Bea and Raihan offer their commiserations for Ash's loss. However, the young son of Pallet is in no mood for mourning, instead buzzing at how awesome Pikachu, Primeape, and Raboot were. Smiling that he guesses nothing phases Ash, Raihan agrees that his Pokemon were impressive, while Bea acknowledges their hard work, having notable praise for Primeape, who she still considers the arch rival of her and her Grapploct. Another voice then chimes in, one so quiet that at first Ash wonders if he imagined it, until he spots a figure barely peeking through the doorway. It is the masked boy Alistair. Alistair, it seems, has come to thank Ash for putting on the exhibition match, saying that it really helped him find his fighting spirit again. Ash beams that is exactly what he hoped for, before asking point blank if this means Alistair will give him a gym battle now. This causes Raihan to face fall at the utter lack of tact, but Alistair says that he will, just not yet. Looking confused, Ash asks when they will have their battle, to which Alistair replies that he's out of practice, so he'll need a few weeks to get back to his prime, since he wants to honor Ash with a full-strength battle. Ash grins that this is fine with him, but Alistair says there's one other thing he'd like to give Ash as a token of appreciation for his help. He wants to teach Primeape a secret move only known to Ghost-type experts. This gets Ash's attention, with Alistair continuing that while he watched the battle between Primeape and Dragapult, he noticed that Primeape lacked the ability to fight at a distance. This move, Rage Fist, will grant Primeape that power, with rumor being that if the move is truly mastered, it will bestow something even greater. Ash says this sounds awesome and so brings out Primeape, telling it to listen to Alistair. A little testily, Primeape sniffs in a way that suggests it doesn't think too highly of the shrimpy kid, but for Ash's sake it listens, as Alistair details the steps to create a Rage Fist. When he is done, he instructs Primeape to try it, with the simian doing as it's told, and imagining all the rage it feels flowing to its fists. To its amazement, as well as Ash, Bea, and Raihan's, purple smoky energy begins to form around Primeape's paw, and when it thrusts outwards in a jab, an afterimage of the fist flies forward, striking a waste bin and causing it to crumple like a can. Ash whoops that this is incredible, while Alistair meekly states that that's only the bare minimum of Rage Fist's true strength. If Ash and Primeape work hard, they will surely achieve even greater heights with the move. Making a fist of his own, Ash promises to give it his all, and then when they've really mastered it, they'll come back and challenge Alistair for his badge. With no more business at the gym, Ash and co head for the Pokemon Center, and as they wait for Ash's Pokemon to heal, they are met by a surprising sight, Leon, looking wild-eyed and confused as he bursts through the door. Concerned in his tone, Raihan asks the champ what's wrong, with Leon replying that he's looking for where he parked his Jeep, exclaiming that he's been all over the city but he still can't find it. Worry turning into amused exasperation, Raihan sighs that Leon's hopeless when it comes to directions, before telling him if he wants, he'll help him look. Leon beams that his rival's the best, with the pair preparing to head back into the street. However, before they go, Raihan tells his companions not to leave without him, since though they're not as bad as Leon, he doesn't want them getting lost in Glimwood Tangle. Eyes lighting up, Leon beams that if they're headed that way, their next stop is probably Ballonlea, right? Ash grins that it sure is since he's going to challenge the gym, and Leon calls this remarkable luck, since he's headed that way as well, so how about as repayment for helping him find his Jeep, he'll drive them all there? Ash and Raihan are both eager to accept this offer, though Bea is a bit hesitant, protesting that traveling by car will deprive them of all the opportunities to train along the way. Grinning, Raihan teases that she's welcome to walk, though with the girl's goal being to surpass a champion-level trainer, he'd have thought the opportunity to travel with Leon would be something she'd want. Thoughtfully, Bea admits that she had not considered that part, and so accepts the offer, giving Leon a deep bow and thanking him with overt formality. With that settled, the champ and top gym leader depart for real, returning about an hour later in a roomy SUV that the younger pair quickly pile into. By car, it only takes around 3 hours to reach Ballonlea, though as far as the group can tell, it could be anywhere from midday to midnight. As about an hour into the drive, they enter Glimwood Tangle, a forest so dense that its foliage even blankets out the sun. In fact, if it were not for the luminescent mushrooms dotted throughout the forest, then it would be pitch black. Thankfully, these mushrooms also act as road markers so simple that even Leon can't get lost. Though, as an extra precaution, Raihan pulls out his map and navigates from the passenger seat. When they arrive in Ballonlea, Ash and Leon have the exact same destination, Ballonlea Stadium, a glittering teacup poised in the middle of what can only be described as a fairy tale town. Despite the rustic nature of Ballonlea itself, the gym interior is more modern, bordering on Spartan, with its lobby walls being made out of exposed steel plates. The only sign of any of Ballonlea's trademark whimsy is in a thin strip of rippling pink and blue carpet that cuts a swath through the dour black of the flooring. And it is here that Ash and Leon see the lobby's sole inhabitant, an elderly woman in a dress of the same pattern. At once, Leon walks over and wraps her in a hug, greeting her as Granny Opal. Fondly, the woman returns the greeting, calling the purple purple-haired man Leon dear, before teasing that he really ought to give up that silly champion business and come be her successor here at the gym. Smiling, Leon replies that maybe someday he will, but for now he's heard that she's gotten herself a new apprentice, and in fact that's why he's here, to give them their gym leader certification test. Patting him lightly on the arm, Opal says in here she thought he'd come to visit her, before smiling that there'll be plenty of time for that later. For now she wants to know who his friend is. Grinning, Leon introduces Ash, saying that he's her next challenger, and at once Opal's entire expression shifts, going from sweet grandma to malicious demon, as she cackles that in that case, it's time to turn this boy's fairy tale adventure into a horror story. Gulping, Ash asks Leon if he should be worried, but the champ replies that he'll be fine. Probably. Ash is then led into a large battlefield where the sole inhabitant is a boy in a jersey that matches Opal's dress. Curtly, Opal tells the boy, who she addresses as Bede, to get into the referee position, since she's about to conduct a battle. Looking petulant, Bede grumbles something about Opal being an unreasonable old hag, but all the same he does as he's told, while Ash and Opal take their positions, and Leon, soon followed by Bee and Raihan, get good seats in the vacant stands. When everyone is in position, Opal asks if Ash has ever had a raid battle, and when the boy shakes his head, Opal leers that the rules are simple. He may use 4 Pokemon at once, while she will only use 1. However, hers will be a Gigantamax Pokemon. Ash nods that it sounds simple enough, and so on Bede's command, brings out Pikachu, Raboot, Primeape, and Cramorant, while Opal brings out her single Pokemon, G-Max Alcremie. The sight of this Pokemon honestly makes Ash a bit hungry, but all the same, he focuses up, trying to come up with a way to topple the giant wedding cake. Thankfully, his Rotom phone tells him that Alcremie is a fairy type, meaning Pikachu's Iron Tail will come in handy. However, it also means Primeape's at a steep disadvantage, so he tells the Pig Monkey to hang back and snipe Alcremie with Rage Fist from afar, while having Pikachu rush in and use Quick Attack. As for Raboot, it wastes no time leaping onto the lowest level of G-Max Alcremie's tiered body, and using Flame Charge to leave scorching footprints all over the fairy type, creating the bizarre impression of a candle running around atop the birthday cake. This just leaves Cramorant, who stares at Ash blankly until he tells it to start stockpiling so it can strike later. With each of Ash's Pokemon having their instructions, Opal at last gives her command, ordering a G-Max finale. At once, creamy projectiles fall from the sky, and while Pikachu, Primeape, and Raboot all dodge theirs, poor dopey Cramorant is promptly crushed beneath one. Opal sneers that's 1 down, 3 to go, but Ash remains resolute, telling Pikachu to carve the cake with Iron Tail. Tail shining metallically, Pikachu does just that, swiping upwards against Alcremie in a way that leaves a massive gash from its base almost all the way to its head. Seeing this weak point, Primeape aims its next Rage Fist into the wound, while Raboot fires a volley of embers which blacken the spongy layer of cake beneath the frosting. Opal doesn't seem worried, however, ordering another G-Max finale, and while globs of goo do rain down from above again, that isn't what interests Ash. What catches his eyes is the wound his team worked so hard to inflict. It's healing. Calling out to the gym leader, Ash asks why that's happening, but Opal just titters that's the secondary effect of G-Max Finale. It heals the user, so Ash's Pokemon need to do a lot more damage than they have been if they want to mean anything. Gritting his teeth, Ash tells his Pokemon to all converge on Alcremie's head for a knockout blow, since it seems individual attacks aren't enough. However, this is just what Opal was hoping for, as she tells Alcremie to use Max Mindstorm to catch them all with a single hit. Suddenly, a ring of sonic energy blossoms from Alcremie's brain, striking all 3 Pokemon at once, and causing them to spasm as their minds are overloaded with too much thought for their brains to comprehend. Primeape is the most susceptible to this as a fighting type, and so falls unconscious almost immediately, though it is not the only one, as moments later Raboot and Pikachu fall beside it, having also fainted under the force of the Max move. And just like that, Ash's hopes of victory have been snuffed out in one fell swoop. That is until a dissonant squawk fills the battlefield. All eyes then turn to the glob of cream that landed on Cramorant, and are shocked to see the bluebird's head poking out, having eaten its way to the top. Ash cheers for his absent-minded friend, asking if it's ready to win this, and when Cramorant cries its agreement, Ash notices it again, something distorted in its voice. Looking more closely, Ash sees that instead of the usual stockpile orbs of power, Cramorant's entire throat is filled to bursting, and when he tells it to use Spit Up, it sprays Alcremie with a torrent of its own G-Max Finale cream, dousing it and doing considerable damage. Grinning at this reversal, Ash prepares to give his next command, but to his shock, Alcremie's Gigantamax comes to an abrupt end, as it reverts to its usual size. From the side of the field, Bede declares an end to the match, calling Ash the winner, though the boy just splutters in confusion since he didn't even defeat Alcremie. Grinning slyly, Opal retorts that the terms were that she would use one Gigantamax Pokemon. Since her Pokemon stopped being Gigantamaxed, she lost. Plain and simple. This still confuses Ash, so Opal continues in a more patronizing voice, as she states that sometimes the key to victory isn't overpowering one's enemies, just outlasting them. She then presents Ash with the Fairy Badge, commending his efforts, and with no further business here, the boy prepares to leave. However, before he can take a single step, he is stopped by Bede, who demands to battle him next. There is anger in the young man's tone as he says this, much to Ash's bafflement, and when the Cantonian inquires what he did to upset Bede, the pale boy snarls that Ash stole everything from him. And that's where we'll leave things. What does Bede's accusation mean? How will Ash and Primeape grow with their newly learned Rage Fist? And will Ash be able to defeat Leon in their eventual rematch? Find out as the journey continues.